This is Gamechangers Readership Promotion Network. And then who are we? Who are we? We're a community of passionate readers who are dedicated to transforming lives through the power of books, because we are convinced that the surest path to sustainable development for societies is the enthronement of a readership lifestyle. We believe that it makes all the difference. And then what are our core values? Four of them are top: lifelong learning. Yeah, so we believe that beyond school, people should continuously learn for personal growth. And then the empowerment that comes through knowledge, and then the inspiration for change, not just reading, not just learning, but embodying those things we learn. So it shows forth in our lives. And then lastly, community and collaboration. For instance, this gathering now, we're able to bring people together, we're able to share, and we are able to grow together. That is very important. Then what do? We do a couple of things, including what we are doing now. And then the next gen reading drive, we go to secondary schools to talk to students, because again, we believe that catching them young is something. And then we organize webinars then for students, for the general audience, and then on social media, on Substack, for instance, we have a newsletter where we share game-changing thoughts on how we can learn better and grow bigger in that sense. And so what's the goal of this review? The goal of this review is, of course, while we encourage people to have read the book, right? But we also acknowledge that there are some who either started reading, but didn't finish it. There are some who may not have found the book, because sometimes they can be rare, may not have found the book. And then there are those who started, but, one thing or the other. But the idea here is that we have 3 people lined out for today who will take us through the book as the first part of the review. And then the second part becomes sort of interaction, where those of us who either read it or as a follow-up from what you heard from the reviewers, we can then interact on that basis. And then a simple announcement will then be to let us know the book for next month. And then we go from there. Yeah, so for today, the 3 guys we have here: Dr. Brendan, Raphael Abadimere, and Kester Alomana. Quickly, Dr. Brendan is a lecturer and a compare, what we might want to call MC. And then currently, he's a lecturer at Bowen University. Yeah, very, very respected gentleman. And then Raphael Abadimere is the founder and CEO of Newland Innovations. Yeah, and he's one of the, he's a board of trustee member of Gamechangers Readership Promotion Network. If you know Raf personally, you know his love for books and reading is unmatched. So we'll be very lucky and happy to have Raf share his insights with us today. And then last but not the least, we have Kester Alomana. Kester works at PwC and is a very serious gentleman. And then you would interact with him today and you see what he's made of. So we are requesting that as we begin now, most of us, if not all of us, will be joining via our phones. We should try to set aside distractions and pay attention just for a couple of minutes, 1 hour and a few minutes max, we're done. And then allow yourself to listen deeply, and while it's going on, to think freely. And when you engage, to engage very, very openly, So take what speaks to you and share what stays with you. We very much look forward to your participation. And then right now, we'll be introducing or giving the floor to the first reviewer, Dr. Brendan. So I'll stop my sharing now so he can share his. Okay, Dr. Brendan, let's give it a go.
Right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. I'm happy to be here today. It's a privilege. I count it joy and a very rare privilege. I thank Mr. Cornell who connected me for this. All right, so today I will be introducing this very book, and I want to thank God that I'm the one doing the introduction. My guys will do the other part of the job. All right, so we are talking on this is our April book review. The book we chose for this month is Scary Smart, authored by Mo Gawdat. Um, and I'll be talking on the introduction, then chapter 1, 2, and 3. I hope you find this section interesting. Come with me. So, the Scary Smart. The author basically declared that AI is about to become one of the hardest pandemic that we've ever experienced. I'm sure most of us here experienced COVID-19, and if we asked to go back to that age, to that era, everybody would say, "God forbid." But here is something that's going to hit us worse than COVID, according to the writer. So my own part is to introduce this job, and I'll be talking on the scary aspect of it. The scary aspect of it. Now, AI is promising to be the new superhero, and by forecasting, by the year 2049, there's no human being on Earth, even those that have died, that would be as bright or as smart as AI. AI will be a billion times smarter in everything than the smartest of human being. That means compared to uh, like if we were to be compared to Albert Einstein, the intelligence of Albert Einstein would be like that of a butterfly compared to AI. Compared to AI. Just imagine. Just picture that. Now, the um the second thing I want to draw our attention to is this. Um, unlike before now, human beings have been creating systems, but systems that they have control over, systems that they can tell what to do, what not to do, systems that used to be our slaves. Now, AI is coming and it is coming more intelligent than us. And you know that who is more intelligent always controls. Now, uh, what it is our values, not our emotions, that makes us do what is right. And then AI is coming at a time when um, the, uh, the values in the world, the value system is depreciating massively. Now the question is, if it for who and who are going to nurture this AI, this trend, this technology with the right emotions to make the right decisions. How will the machine learn the right values? And the good thing is that the author is promising us that it is not the expert that have the capability to alleviate this threat facing humanity, because according to him, AI is a threat. That it is you and I that have the not just the power, but also the responsibility to do this. To do this. Now, what do we mean? Okay, let me give you an instance, a story of from the book. You remember the movie of the Superman that landed from somewhere and almost like an alien and fell into the hands of a good man and a good woman. Uh, the Kent. family, and they were able to nurture him, give him the right values. He became a superman. He was built up to save humanity. Now, for a second, imagine if he fell into the hands of a terrible family, that maybe a greedy family that will now want to use it for their own personal benefit. The AI, that's being that landed on earth, took up the correct values of the family that nurtured it. If it were the other way around, we would have something crazy on our hands. Okay, so the power and responsibility to alleviate this threat actually rests on us. So I'll go to chapter 1 now. Chapter 1 is it tries to give us a brief history of intelligence. What is intelligence? When you have the ability to be self-aware, to recognize, to process, to understand, to relate. These are all intelligence. These are all aspects of intelligence. Okay. Now, we know that over time, of course, intelligence improves. It's not what we regard as intelligence today. That will be the basic. It grows. It grows. It grows. And the concept of neuroplasticity is that any part of your being that you use develops more. Any part of your brain that you put to task develops more. So as human beings evolve, intelligence also evolve. Now, at a time, it was almost as though humans and apes were in the same intelligence level. But because humans had the ability to improve, have the ability to evolve their own intelligence faster than the apes, today you can see that human beings are actually ruling the world, because it is those that have the highest intelligence that end up ruling their world. So we control the apes, control all the animals. Why? Because we were able to, as a matter of usage, as a matter of uh, biology, put to use this part of our brain, which is that term there, neuroplasticity. And the more we use the brain, the more in certain aspect, the more it develops in those aspects. Okay, now, and due to that advantage we have as humans, we're already ruling our world. The question is, with the massive evolution in AI, are we losing the battle already? Are we still going to be tasking our brains to develop? Are we still going to be trying to be better than ourselves, or will leave those things to prompts and codes? Or are we losing that battle? And if by any means we are losing that battle, does that suggest that very soon another set of beings, another set of structure, another set of beings will become the highest in intelligence and end up becoming the rulers of the world? Where would man be at that time? We used to be at the apex of the pyramid in terms of intelligence, but right about now, what's happening? Are we still there? With the massive evolution and the fact that we no longer, we are beginning to slack in putting our brain to use in development. The development of our brain is slacking while the evolution of AI is massively on the increase. What's happening? Are we still going to be there at the top? That is the first part of this scary side of this story. Now, remember, intelligence developed from over time. We moved over to neuroplasticity. Now, the apes who used to regard as intelligent, we no longer see them as such. Why? They can't even, most of them cannot interact with the devices we use these days. Now, in the next 20 years, what's going to be the story? All right, now let's give a brief history of our future. There's been a massive evolution in AI, massive evolution, massive. and I mean massive. AI has gone past the breakthrough stage. The most difficult part, if you are a footballer here, you will understand that to pass through the midfield of a tact team, of a compact team, is about the most difficult part of the job. And once a striker, that's somebody whose task is to score the goal, gets the ball from the midfield, maybe a through pass, and is first one-on-one with the goalkeeper, there's higher chance of scoring. But until that breakthrough happens, there will likely not going to be a goal. Now, the phase of AI where there was little movement have passed. From 1949 till now, there has been slow but steady movement. However, in the last 10 years, there has been massive breakthrough. The trajectory has been monumental. The things that we saw only in movies are now live in our hands. And the truth is, that it took AI this long to develop doesn't mean to take it another this long again to become advanced. The little steps of yesterday have become the exponential steps of today. So you now see that those things we saw in our science fiction movies are now becoming the science facts of today. Years ago, when we used to watch all those science fiction movies, you see someone talk to a watch and the watch respond, everybody will be wow. See somebody talking to somebody on screen, what do they how is this possible? But now everybody is doing that. You can do video call, you see anybody anywhere, right where you are. These were fictions 10 years ago, 20 years ago, fictions. Now here we are. Everything we thought was not possible is now happening. For the things we hailed as science is now underrated. How do I put it? We don't even value the fact that we have a handset in our hand, and the things it's capable of doing is now a norm. So the idea of AI being integrated into our future is amazing, but also scary. Now let's go to the chapter 3, where we'll talk about the three inevitables. Now, what are the three inevitables? Number one, that AI will happen. That one is already here with us. This book was written in 2021. Now, imagine that as at that 2021, there was still projection that is not good, like that it is going to happen. Now, from 2021 to now is about 5 years. Just check the gap and what have happened within that 2021 and now. The advancement in AI, the amount of funding going to AI. Now, AI is already here and it has already gotten to the breakout stage. Let me take your mind back to nuclear weapon. When the world started going that countries were becoming interested in nuclear weapon, that problem, the fact that nuclear weapon was accessible to everybody became a problem. Why? It took a whole lot of time for the science of nuclear weapon to be developed, people to understand the basics, people to know what's going on and how to efficiently put it to use. But then a time came when everybody saw that this thing we are all rushing may be our end. And countries started trying to, put regulations, united everybody. Of course, we know that those laws were meant for the weaker nations, while the stronger nations continued with their development. So the fact that AI will happen is already here. The fact that we'll have nuclear weapons is already here. Just put the two side by side. And the author is saying that the same way we treated AI, nuclear weapons should also be the same way we should be handling AI. Why? Both of them are as short. One is even more dangerous than the other. AI is even more dangerous than nuclear weapon if it falls into the wrong hands. Now, the second inevitable is that AI will outsmart humans. Now, let me give you a peep into how AI will outsmart humans. If I'm driving now, supposing I'm driving and I hit something, I hit maybe a tree, and by God's grace, I wasn't so wounded, and I drive back. I will be the only one to learn from that experience, or maybe a few persons around who saw, hey, this was the error that guy did. But now, when an AI makes a mistake, every AI on earth learns from it. Every app that has AI learns from it instantly. So the vast depth of knowledge that is shared from every corner, every AI makes these tools, they are advancing per second. They are advancing with massive speed per second. So while it may take me 10 years to learn something, AI learns in milliseconds, milliseconds. So at the end, when AI outsmarts humans, and we've already agreed that the smarter race rules the earth. Now, who will now become the ruler? Who will now take charge? Most of the machines man created, like your laptop, it cannot do beyond what you ask it to do. But AI will not even ask you. It will go ahead to develop things that it knows that it feels you will like and feed you based on your interactions with it. Based on your interactions with it. Now, the funny thing is that AI, it has its own free will. It is independent. It can make its own decisions. It does not even wait for you. It feels okay, this is what this guy will like based on what he did yesterday, based on what he clicked yesterday, based on how he reacted to a comment yesterday. It will feed you. Now, having outsmarted humans, I wonder who will now be in control. The fact is, it is not the codes that we use to create AI that eventually gets to control them. They are independent. That is why a car can, in short, currently now the smartest driver on earth is AI. The smartest communicator is AI. The smartest, name it, educators, AI. Just mention it. Not talk about the war, war drones and the rest of them. They can go to the smartest fighters. So that is where we are currently now. Now, the third inevitable is that bad things will definitely happen. So I gave us the story of that Superman that fell into the hands of the Kent family. What if it fell into the hands of a terrorist organization, and they were able to nurture it to know that anywhere you see anything black, kill. Anywhere you see anything white, kill. What will happen? Nations are already building weapons with AI. A time will come when it's going to be a war between, eh, of course, it's already happening. Machines will go to war against man, against man. So while the other side is recording casualties by count of humans, the other side will just say, okay, we lost this machine, we lost that machine. That will be it. Bad things would happen. This is scary part. This is thought inevitable. Inevitable. Now, as I begin to round up, first and foremost, AI is already upon us. The question is, whose interests will the machine have at heart? Whose interest? Is it yours? Is it mine? Is it those of the world power? Is it those of the corrupt nations? Is it those of those who want to hack into systems? Is it those of who will be feeding it? Unfortunately, very soon they will not need us again because AI can generate, it can reproduce, it can develop an app on its own. It doesn't need our code again. It doesn't need our code again. So hey, imagine creating something that you have no control over. And tomorrow, something now makes it feel like, okay, I don't need this guy again. Terminator. Of course, that's another AI science fiction movie back then. And the last but not the least on this, my roundup, that they are beating us. They are beating every area of human intelligence. They are beating every area. Just mention the area. Just mention that one area that AI hasn't overtaken humans yet. It's scary. What are the takeaways from this section? One, a pandemic is here. We should not look away. We shouldn't. We shouldn't. A pandemic is already here upon us. We took measures to control COVID-19 and other pandemics. What are we doing in this case? What should we do? Unlike other machines created that are slaves to man, man also become a slave of AI. It's already happening. It's already happening in every sector. It's already happening. And when man loses that control, what happens? Do we now become, maybe the way we're now controlling apes, will now become under the control of AIs? They will tell you when to move, when not to move. They can give you instructions, and you can't but listen or obey or face the death consequences. I think we should all be scared, really. I think we should all be scared. We should all be scared. So my part is to tell you how scared you should be, and I think I've done that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Brendan. I mean, that was very much thought-provoking, and I love how you broke it down. And more importantly, the examples you used, they were very, very vivid in terms of painting the picture and illustrating the points you were making. So I really appreciate the work. One question, are you telling me that the things our forefathers used to teach us are handed down to us, that AI already knows it now?
Just mention one of them. Just mention one.
And can AI explain how water entered the coconut fruit? Or can it go climb the palm tree and tap palm wine?
The truth is, there's virtually nothing that hasn't been fed into these AIs. Okay, just yesterday, I was just seeing a machine that could climb. I'm not talking about like that can drive up a palm tree. A
Well,
machine. Yours is
yeah,
just it to move up. So,
yeah.
and a time will come when man doesn't even need to be on the machine. The thing will just
Yes.
they come down. So
I
it's
saw the machines that Ukraine is currently using in the war against Russia now, and I felt both amazed and scared at the same time, because according to the news, this machine just arrested a full battalion of Russian soldiers. Like
imagine.
the entire battalion, they kept on shooting at it and ran out of bullets. And it gave them warning: you either stop shooting or you all will be eliminated. And it had circled all of them. It
Okay.
knew where to drop the bomb immediately and eliminate them. So these machines are able to enter places that human beings will not go, in the battlefield. So places that if a human being steps there, you will immediately be shot down by the opponent. The machines are able to go in there because the machines are not alive. The only weakness they have at this point is that they run out of battery. So if they find a way to maybe power it with some renewable energy, or even some of them are nuclear powered.
And okay, I was about to say,
Yes.
I bet you
Some of them
that
are nuclear powered, such
they are
that
not
their
rechargeable.
last job, even by the time they are done with the work they are doing, in fact, when you destroy it, it takes you down with it, in the sense that so it's like the machines are suicidal in nature. So by the time you end up destroying it, you would inevitably wipe out an entire area with it. So just
Right.
tells you how scary and how advanced these things are. And there is a point you made that really struck a chord. And I began to connect the dots in my own experience. The example you gave around, learning from experiences, how we learn from our experiences, but AI is learning from multiple experiences at the same time. So, for instance, I have ChatGPT on my phone, and over time I've realized that now it's able to reference a previous conversation when I ask it a new question. So,
Of course.
so for instance, I see something online and it's an interesting concept and I want to learn more about it. When I ask ChatGPT to explain it to me, it starts using points from our previous conversations
Okay.
to make me understand it better. So
Okay.
there is no doubt that this thing is smart. And there is no doubt that it is even learning at faster than the speed of light, because the more we use it, the more it learns, which is the scary part. And so well, I want to hope for the best, right? Because humanity has seen a lot. So I want to hope for the best that even as it continues to advance, it will advance humanity by, or if it ends up becoming dangerous, we might as well just destroy it. There is somewhere that is plugged into the wall. We'll
Now,
plug it.
that's the issue. We have created something that we cannot destroy. The only thing we may end up doing is minimize what we feed it, because it can only operate by what we feed it.
What if all the data centers, all over the world are destroyed?
It already has its own backup.
Interesting. Anyway, thank you for the, lessons so far. Thank you for doing the work that we
My
asked. We
pleasure.
are very satisfied with the effort you put in here, and
My
believe the
pleasure.
listeners would be impressed as well. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So let me just minimize this, come this way. And okay. Let's go down here. All right, so thank you. And it's a pleasure. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll try to run through what I have. And this is on the premise of a couple of things that have been mentioned earlier. First would be that AI would arrive, or rather, AI is already here. It has arrived. So the person was speaking futuristically. That's the author. AI will outsmart us, and that's already happening according to projections that are in reliable data sources, and they thought to be bad things would happen. As much as they are scary, the author in part two of this particular book puts forward a couple of suggestions, and we'll be trying to run through them shortly. And so I think the objective of this review of chapter 7, 8, and 9 would be first to understand why the author tries to frame artificial intelligence as a child that you get to raise, not necessarily a tool. And second would be to probably examine some of the dilemmas that AI might face in its ethical decision making, and what the possible next steps will be for us as individuals with our use of AI or our use of technology. So, as much as developers get to write the code, the picture that is being painted in the book as of AI representing a child or akin to a child is the same way we get to have a child get to learn things, right? It's possible that we can use that same analogy for AI. The morality of the output, or the morality of artificial intelligence, it's not cast in stone or set when we have the codes being written by the developers. So we have the things that AI learns. So that's why we have things like the language learning models. So as constant and continuous learning happens, the amount of data that we get to use to train these models is quite important. The same way every child is born with a clean slate, as some psychologists or some scientists will put forward or try to put forward their hypothesis. They will tell you Mother Teresa and someone like the German guy Adolf they were both born with clean slates, right? And it's up until the things that they get to learn as they grow up that then framed or changed their mindset along the way. So we see that in two buckets: the seed, which the developers get to write for AI, and then their day-to-day activities, the field that they get to expose themselves to, is what trains them to become who they eventually are. The big questions will be, would AI be conscious or emotional or ethical? I think to answer that would be that, yes, if we speak about consciousness, in fact, every device that we have has an identity. We listen to, sometimes we get to try to be careful because our devices are listening to our conversations. You probably speak to a friend about something, and then the next minute you see an ad on Facebook about it, or you see an ad on Twitter about it. It happens. Your smart TV probably listens to your conversations, right? And so these machines are constantly aware of their environment. So in a sense, they are conscious. And the next part would be around, do they have emotions? We can also proceed that that's correct, that they have emotions to the extent that they make logical decisions. So if we say emotion stems from logic, we can say, okay, these machines also make decisions, and so in a sense they have some sense of emotions. And then for ethics, same thing. These machines will be able to make decisions as to who gets to get what, who has to get awarded a certain what is due to the person, and a couple of other very necessary decisions around trust and survival of our day-to-day lives. So AI, again, painting the picture of it being a child. 80% of our human brain is wired and set by age 4. So if you get to train AI as early as possible, or rather feed it with the right information, information that doesn't speak to it being wrapped around selling us bad ads or spying on us, or gambling, or people using AI to push forward very negative agenda. These are negative ways, negative information. Every click, every choice you make on social media, every comment you make, people that go create burner accounts, for example, to use them for banter. At the background, they think it's just you, but all this, just like what Dr. Brendan said, over time, AI keeps learning in milliseconds, consumes a lot of data. So if we train them appropriately with the right information, with the right expressions, with the right thank yous, with the right please, it's important that we know that every of those actions go a long way to make sure that whatever it has at its back end, the kind of information that it gets to learn with, it then generates positive output to solve positive problems in a positive light. Next up will be the future of ethics, right? Again, these are questions that we necessarily do not have answers to at the moment, right? So we'll start seeing questions around. Probably I'll just read out the first one, and then over time, maybe you could take a snapshot of the others to just deliberate on. Questions around if a self-driving car must hit a young girl, or it gets to swerve to hit an elderly woman. These are day-to-day decisions that probably must be made. Whose life has more value, right? At that moment, right? Who is liable to the decision that the AI at that split second gets to make? Is it the owner, right? Is it the maker or the coder? And every other bias tendencies that may come up as to the ethical decisions that AI will get to make for us. So the author is saying, okay, amongst three ideologies, we have the cosmic ideology, the Theron ideology. He sort of like tries to lie in between. So think of it at two far ends. One is saying, okay, as a far right, as a cosmic right, so we're built gods, and we must worship AI, we must worship technology. At the other end, is saying, oh, we need to stop every development of AI in its entirety and then wage war against machines. But the author is saying, no, we don't have to do any of those two. We can still achieve what we need to achieve using AI to our benefit by training them correctly, training them as children. So that's what he's positing, and that's his own ideology. And thinking about it, to help AI in our day-to-day activities do positive things. We have seen examples of those positive things that can happen, right? For example, the flood detection, or rather flood prediction AI model that is being used in India to help save the hundreds of millions of lives actually, down to things around climate modeling. And sometimes you watch the news, and then at the end of probably a session, you see some weather guy just comes up on CNN and then tries to give you some forecast. What do you think is happening, right? They are deploying climate models to help us understand the behaviors of some of these natural disasters so that we are safe, right? So I think that it's important that we think of AI being used largely for good. And we need to stop fighting. We need to stop the fight, rather continuously fight the bad use of AI. As someone will say, oh, okay, I want to use AI to generate a couple of things that will probably use to plagiarize an article, or a couple of other things around different industries that are in the negative light. But if we feed AI with information, we treat each other nicely on the internet, we actually make nice comments, or rather great comments, and AI keeps learning. It's at the back of our minds, these are issues, or rather these are the ways through which you can understand that they get to learn. And when we ask for information on how to solve problems, it gives us positive outputs, as the case may be. So in the grand scheme of things, so what does that mean for you on this call? What does that mean for me, right? And what are our next steps, right? And how we get to move forward with the information that we have. First is to refuse the use of AI, for example, to sell us bad information, to spy on us, to gamble, or to kill, right? It might not be literally holding a gun to shoot, but the words that you use, right? The actions, the comments that you make on social media, these are very detrimental to people's, in this new age and time, is called mental health, right? So every negative use of those AI, right, should be fought against, because the learning continues. The next would be to teach them. So like the same way you teach a child, you teach AI, it learns from your behavior, not necessarily from your actions, as the comment on the screen puts it, right? The bullying that you do online, the deep faking, and a couple of other very negative things that people get to do these days. At the back of it, an example would be Twitter, for example. So Twitter is a social, or rather X, right? It's a social platform, and where people get to comment. But if you notice these days, when people don't get to understand something, they ask the ask Grok, right? Grok is like the AI model that has been built in-house, proprietary to X, that's the company itself. It is used on the social media platform. I want to believe it's used on, or rather, I think I've seen it used on a Tesla, right? That's the cars, and a couple of other things within the X ecosystem, or that Twitter ecosystem. So it's important that we know that by the time we dish out positive comments and put out positive views, these models are constantly learning, and they get to give us eventually good outputs. And the last but not the least, he here speaks about loving them to the point where when we say love them, we mean the same way you say thank you in your day-to-day activities to people around you. You say please, right? Don't act very weird. Treat it like a child. Treat it like a child that you want to. The same way you want your child to pick up positive traits, right? It's important that you see the use of artificial intelligence in that light. And by the time everyone gets to do the correct thing, the next set of two people get to do the correct thing, it just passes on, and the exponential change helps our world become a better place. Eventually, right? Gawdat says everyone will be fine. Either we adjust painfully or we get to partner with AI gracefully, as the case may be. I think that in the end, these are reframing the problem exactly as we speak to how we're saying AI is not a tool for control, seeing it as a child. We're going to accept how complex it is and then take the actions that I alluded to earlier for the future of ourselves and then the people who are coming after us. I think with these few points of mine, even though this is not a debate, I've been able to put forward some of my submissions. And Sir Cornell, I think I have like a small, maybe before the questions come in, I have like a small activity for us on the call, for us to take part in these questions, brief, about 10 to 12 of them. And then you can ask your questions. I don't know if that's fine by us on the call.
Yeah, that's sure. How long would the question take, the quiz?
About 3 minutes, thereabout.
Okay. Let me try. So guys, let's what's the quiz about? Is it about the book we're reading?
Exactly. It's the book, the presentation that I just did. Just to test our knowledge.
All right. I will scan the QR code.
Okay. If the QR code doesn't work, we can use the URL and then it goes live.
Okay. Let's see. Scan it. All right. Okay, I'm in now.
Okay.
If anyone is having a challenge, they can use the link, the URL, to go in directly, but I scanned the QR code.
Okay, and so in the end, I'll put up the answers maybe after like 3 minutes.
How many questions? Is it just one?
No. I think it's up to 10.
So I answered one, and it says I should wait for presenter to change slides.
Oh.
You have to be changing the slides.
Oh, that's quite interesting. Okay, maybe what's the word now? Okay, maybe I'll get to sort that out after. It will probably be a glitch or something. Yeah, it'll probably be a glitch. Maybe the questions can just come in directly. Anyone can ask the questions and yeah. So apologies, that's probably be a glitch.
Thank you very much, Kester. Thank you so much. I love how you broke down the information and arrange your thoughts in a way that is coherent and made sense. This whole concept of taking AI as a child, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible, but theoretically it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
even children nowadays, like parents are struggling to raise their children, and the children more than ever before are growing up with a more independent mindset than we
Mindset.
used to have in the past. And look at the situation in most Western countries where, because of the government's involvement in child services and social welfare, there is a limitation how how parents can go about raising a child. So raising a child is as a process is not perfect in itself. So
True.
applying it
True.
to AI is like taking something that is a work in progress and now putting it into something that could become, could easily get out of hand. So
I
I don't know what
not
the
sure I totally.
prospects are.
Yeah, it's good in theory, right? So that's why in every social sciences, most of the experts over the years, or rather the researchers, put forward their own theories, their own hypotheses, right? But even with sciences, with lots of hypotheses that we get to make in controlled environments, by the time they get battle tested with the real world, right, things get to fall
Yes,
apart.
it does.
So
Because recently,
yeah.
in Canada here, so we had a situation. There was a school shooting. Some
Yeah.
students went to school with a gun and shot a couple of his classmates, eventually
Oh.
himself as well. It turns out that for the weeks leading to that day, this child has been asking ChatGPT where to find a gun and how to use a gun.
Whoa.
So ChatGPT, the thing with AI, it has got some guardrail. So if you ask ChatGPT, where can I find a gun or how do I use a gun?
Yes.
It's not going to answer you. But if
That's how
you could use reverse psychology on it, if you ask it, where can I not find a gun? So it will start telling you places where you cannot find it and might even tell you why you cannot find it. But with that, you're able to figure out where you can find it.
Correct.
So, and then if you come to look at the situation with a lot of the people who are working on this AI, most of them are more driven by the commercial upside of
Capitalism, yes.
investing in
Exactly.
AI, right? They are not really thinking about the aftermath of whatever tomorrow could be. They are more looking at, okay, how can I make the most out of this and
That's of this,
become
yeah.
the next Elon Musk or the next billionaire, right? So, and these
Sure.
people, many of them come from even dysfunctional families.
Families.
They don't have families of their own. A lot of them don't have families of their own. Many of them are even troubled people. So to tell them to train AI like their child is not something that would come to them naturally. And if they were to train it the way they would train their child, is it a child that we would like to have in the society? Because there are some children who have become a burden on society because of the families they come from, and they were trained that way by their family. So the point on training it AI as a child is you still have to be, taken with a pinch of salt.
Sure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's not a solution. It's still something we can work on.
True. To the point that even I think that what the author is also tries to lay out is in the grand scheme of things, the way we treat people. And even though we will feel that everyone probably there's a sense of anonymity online, right? People could do what they need to do. In the background, you, you mustn't necessarily be logged onto chatgpt.com for AI to learn. So even if you want to ask it questions around, oh, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? that's also fine. But your day-to-day activities on Twitter, day-to-day activities on other platforms, it's still learning. So I think he's trying to push forward for a better societal behavior as what that in itself, we can't really control it. It's beyond the control of people who get to even develop the platforms itself. So it's good in theory, right? But it's like you said, it's going to be very, very. We should be taken with a pinch of salt.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else in the audience have questions? I can see a couple of people listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's session. Do you have any questions? I'll proceed.
Comments, feedback.
Yeah, or even comments or thoughts to share, whatever you've got to say. It would be nice to hear from the people in the audience. Let's not keep quiet, so otherwise AI will start speaking for us.
Yeah.
Anyway, while we are waiting, I would like to use this opportunity to share some updates. Gamechangers Readership Promotion Network is live on social media.
Hi, Dwayne. Hi, Dwayne.
Hello. Hello. Yes.
I think Ralph is available if you want to see if he's still got something to.
Yes, I dropped the chat.
Yeah. I think he just responded.
Okay, okay. Hi, Ralph. Do you still want to continue? You could. Hello, Ralph. I had messaged him privately on Zoom, but I didn't hear back. So I wasn't sure he was coming back. Because I understand he's in transit. Yeah. So as I was saying, hello, Ralph, is that you? Yes, I was saying Gamechangers Readership Promotion Network is available on social media. We're live on social media. We've got a WhatsApp channel, as well as YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And most recently, we also created a page on Substack. So whichever channel or platform that you are active on, you will be able to find us there. The username to search for is at the GRPN. That is how you find us on these social media platforms. Do well to connect with us so that you'll be in the know of any of our activities or updates that we've got to share. Yes.
Yeah, hello. Tony wants to speak. He's saying he can't find where to raise his hand, so you could just call him up.
Hi, Tony. Please go ahead. Okay, no problem if you can raise your hand. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so sorry for that. Hi, Dubim. Hi, everyone. It's been a fantastic session. I think I got scared myself at some point. But it's been fantastic. However, more or less, it's a question from my end in terms of how scary does the whole picture get once we've achieved AGI? Is that something anybody could just weigh in on? How scary does the whole thing get once we've achieved AGI? AGI, I think that's artificial general intelligence.
Okay. So does any of the reviewers want to pitch in? Kester, Brendan, are you with us?
Yes. I can hear you. Okay. Let me attempt to answer, to give my comment on that. The truth is, at the point where for example, the author was making this, he didn't even foresee that the inventions that we have would happen this fast, right? And to your question on AGI, if we could see, for example, how Anthropic was churning out products recently, back to back, within the last couple of within a couple of days, right? People online were getting to complain. This is taking my job. It's almost like Claude for code, Claude for whatever activity that you want to do. We can't at this point give a specific, for example, timeline as to when that would happen. How scary it is, it's very scary, right? So people will definitely have to rethink the way they approach, for example, their jobs, rethink the way they approach their day-to-day activities. And the world was seeing like a major shift. The same way we had the industrial era. This is, in a sense, going to be, in quotes, another industrial era. So it's quite scary. I must say, and we can't really even give a timeline to these things because it's quite fast paced at this point.
I think that's what makes it even more.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yes, please go ahead.
Right. I think we are still dealing with the baby when we just talk about AI. Because when AGI comes in, it's going to be well crazier. Because AGI has this ability to even teach itself, develop new skills, just as a human. You get do scientific research, create art, manage all this complex. So you see that this is a higher level of the threat. High level of the threat. So the earlier we start adopting the strategy that Kester already advocated for, so that we don't get to that point where because the issue is not about what this AI can do, but who gets to control them, who it falls under his or her control tomorrow. So it's because if AI is this risky or is such a loading pandemic, how much more would AGI cost much of it? Just imagine that this thing can do its own research, do its own learn new skills, just like human beings do. So it's actually and the truth is everything is based on AI. And that is the challenge. Tomorrow, another term may even come up, which we don't even know. So every day the development is exponential, it's massive. So who knows the one that will come up next tomorrow? So the earlier we learn how to humanize it, give it a good background to and a template to run with, the better for humanity. Thank you.
Right, thanks, everyone. If anyone, Sylvia, you raised your hand. The floor is yours.
All right, good evening, everyone. I think I'm impressed with the views of the reviewers. It's really opened my eyes to so many things. And with the information I've gotten so far, I'll be able to regulate what I feed the AIs. That's the Meta AI, the ChatGPT, and all that. And I also encourage us to regulate what we feed it, like some biodatas, fingerprints, and all that. Because in the future, we'll have machines that could make use of these things and then implicate us for crimes that we were not even present when such crimes were committed. It's a possibility. Then about how scary it is. In as much as it is scary, I wouldn't want us to live in fear. We do the things we are supposed to do, like training the AI, taking the AI as a child, and all that. I remember after the Second World War, we had the Cold War era, where nations embarked in massive infrastructural development, that is, war structures. That's when this nuclear bomb and all these war machineries, most of the things they are using presently were developed during the Cold War eras. There was no physical fight, but they were deep down developing weapons of mass destructions. At a stage, they had to come up with a policy to regulate who gets what. In as much as it is scary, I want to believe that before it gets to that level, laws will come in on how it will be regulated. Definitely, they can regulate it. They can use organs like the United Nations and all that to regulate it. But that does not mean we shouldn't do the things we are supposed to do. Let's just do our bits and then leave time to take care of the rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for at least sounding a note of caution, because we should all be cautious, I must say. One time somebody was telling me that there's this AI that can clone your voice, and it has security implications. For instance, someone can use that voice to maybe, in a situation whereby someone is kidnapped and they are required to call their family and explain that I've been kidnapped, I need you to pay this ransom or call for help. Now they don't need to kidnap you, they can kidnap your voice and do what they need to do. Make sure that you don't get in contact with your family. Same way people are cloning WhatsApp accounts and using it to beg the contacts of the persons whose account has been cloned for money. So it's important that we try to, as much as possible, protect any confidential information as much as we can. I don't know if we can really, but yeah, you can try your best. Okay. Does anyone else have questions or comments to make? Please feel free to just go ahead. In the meantime, I would like to announce the book for the month of May. Title is The Art of Spending Money by Morgan Housel. This one is a topic that I think everyone should be interested in, because we all interact with money in one way or the other. And we've always known, this is not the first time that we are being told, or you'll be hearing this, that it doesn't matter how much you make, what matters is how much you keep at the end of the day. And we all know that, but at the end of the day, we sometimes find ourselves in the rat race. The same cycle continues to repeat itself. One way you can break through or break free from this cycle, this repeated cycle of, not keeping as much as you can from what you make, or not even paying yourself, is by knowledge. And I believe that's what this book we are looking into this month of May will do for us. So I enjoin everyone to please get the book or read about it online, whatever way you can. Just get to know about this book. And by the end of the month, we'll be gathering once again to review the book and share learnings, more importantly, rub minds on the ideas that have been shared in the book. So thanks everyone for making out the time to be part of this review session.